Hey everybody. So I wanted to just take a few minutes today and give you guys a special little bonus video to celebrate the fact that the channel has just hit 100 subscribers. For those of you who've been around for a while, you might note that that's a goal that I've had for the channel for quite some time, and I'm pretty excited about the fact that we've actually managed to reach that. Now, of course, because I've said that and because I've made this video, somebody will probably unsub, but that's okay. We got there, it happened. I'm even going to put a screenshot up so we can prove it later. But before I get into the channel update and talking a little bit about what's going on with that and kind of what the 100 subscriber thing means to me, I did want to take a minute and talk about the game that I'm using as the background footage for this video, which is Tactical Mind for the Nintendo Switch. So this is a pretty interesting little $3 tactics game that's available on the eShop that supports local play between 2 players or single player on 28 different levels. I'm not really going to go too deeply into the mechanics of the game because it does have a nice, short, and effective tutorial to explain the basics, but I did want to touch on a couple more advanced strategies that I think might be useful to new players, as it took me a few games to sort of wrap my head around them myself. The first of those being the idea that when you level up a pawn and make it therefore more powerful and more able to generate power on a given turn, as a general rule, you're going to want to make sure that that pawn stays active at the end of each turn so that it can generate as much power as possible for you in subsequent turns. So you'll see in a lot of this footage for the game, what I tend to do is to use level 1 pawns to level up other pawns that are connected to crystals so that they can in turn generate more power on the subsequent turn. That's a really important thing to kind of wrap your head around early on in the game because it's going to give you the power that you need to perform more advanced tactical moves throughout the game. The other thing that's really important to note, and it's something that I didn't really tune into until I had been playing the game for a while, is that stunning or destroying pawns has a really profound effect on the ability of the person being attacked to produce new pawns and take other actions in the game. The basic core strategy of the game, I think, can essentially be boiled down to the idea that you want to generate as much power per turn as possible and focus on stunning or destroying enemy pawns without leaving yourself vulnerable to being stunned or destroyed yourself. I think if you focus on those 2 core ideas, you'll have a much easier time with this game, at least in the first few levels. The thing that I really like about Tactical Mind as a game is that it is, as far as I'm aware, a completely original and novel concept for a tactical strategy game. I haven't seen the particular mechanics that this game utilizes employed in any other game that comes to mind, and I think that's a really noteworthy and cool thing about it. Of course, it would be nice if the game had some additional features such as online multiplayer or a level creator or things along those lines, but keep in mind that this is a $3 game. And I think it does offer quite a bit of fun, interesting, and satisfying gameplay for the money. Having said all that, I definitely wanted to switch gears and talk for a bit about what's going on with the channel. As those of you who've been following along with my past several videos know, the channel has definitely been going through some changes of late, and I understand that it might be a little bit confusing for some folks given the fact that this will now make 3 videos in a row here in 2018 that have featured gameplay as the background for them, given my intention to sort of move the channel away from that as a primary focus. But keep in mind that the games that I'm showing here are smaller, simpler, easier to digest sort of experiences, which is what's made it possible for me to talk about them effectively and to make content regarding them. As much as I would love to be able to spend the time creating more gaming related videos over the next several months, I don't think that that's likely to be in the cards, given the amount of time that it takes to cover even a small game like Dark Quest II, which I reviewed in the previous video. As I've mentioned in the past, the amount of time that it takes to make a proper game review is quite extensive, And even for small indie titles such as Dark Quest 2, you're talking about a 10 to 12 to 15 hour time investment just to create that 5 or so minute review video. Not to mention the amount of time it takes to cover a mid-tier or a big AAA game, as I have in the past. I think for the most part, most folks who are still around and subscribe to me understand the nature of that situation and are cool with it, and that's why you folks are still here, because you're here more for me than you are necessarily for what I'm particularly talking about. And I absolutely do appreciate that, but I also felt it was necessary to just clarify that a little bit in case folks have been getting confused by the fact that the last few videos have featured gameplay. So as of right now, my plan moving forward with the channel is to spend the next couple of videos over the next couple of months focusing on my new writing project, which, as many of you probably already know, is the novel that I'm currently working on, which will be my second. The way things are looking at the moment is that I'll probably be finishing up the initial draft of that project at the end of April, and then beginning the long and arduous process of editing and refining all of that text throughout May and June, with the goal of having the book published and available for sale sometime in July or August, depending on how things progress. So in the spirit of kind of keeping to 1 or 2 videos a month for the year, what I'm probably going to end up doing is a single video at the end of April, sort of recapping the process of completing the draft of the novel. For May, I'd definitely like to squeeze something gaming related in if possible, perhaps another game review or a Why It's Awesome episode or something along those lines. And then for June, I'm hoping to be able to do another writing video about the editing process for the novel. And then of course there'll be 1 or 2 videos in July and or August promoting the novel itself as I prepare to release it and actually get it out the door. If the opportunity presents itself for me to bang out a quick gaming related video or something along those lines, I'm obviously going to do that because that's just the way I roll. But as of right now, my focus and my intent is for the majority of the next several videos to focus on the new book, be it the process of creating it or announcing it and marketing it as we get closer to its release. At the end of the day, I really just wanted to take a few minutes and thank everybody who has subscribed to the channel and has continued to stick around despite the changes to it. When I first started this channel over 7 years ago now, the idea of having 100 subscribers seemed completely insane and crazy to me, and the fact that we've actually reached that point is something pretty amazing as far as I'm concerned. It's a little bit of a bittersweet thing, having recently lost my partner status as a result of the changes that YouTube implemented in the wake of the Adpocalypse and the Logan Paul stuff and all that nonsense. But as I've said all along, I was never really here on YouTube trying to make a living off of it. It was always just for fun and just to make cool and interesting content for you guys to watch. And the fact that 100 of you actually bothered to hit that subscribe button, and of those 100, a lot of you actually come back on a regular basis and watch these videos, is something that I just can't help but be a little proud of and appreciate quite a bit. As always, hopefully you folks have enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you do happen to be new here and would like to see more videos from me in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.